maybe a surprise, best pick maybe for you in the first round, and maybe the one that you were most surprised about that wasn't so great of a pick?
Well, I'm most surprised by, I think, is different than wasn't a great pick, because Ron Holland going that high was the most surprising to me. I do like him a lot. I just didn't like top 5?
Top 5 to Detroit.
That surprised me. That to me was the most surprising. Honestly, this is going to be very on brand for me. I thought the best pick was Topic. Like, I think that was the exact right situation in terms of best, like, well, even best overall. You just don't know because there's so much uncertainty at the top. But in terms of a team who should take that high upside swing, I think that was the exact right team to do so. So in terms of place, in terms of assets they have and quantity, I think that was a team to take the upside swing, and that was the one I liked the best. And like I said, that's very on brand for me because I like taking high upside swings like that. I'm more than willing to punt a year.
Well, that was
punt that.
That was my call last night. I went with both of those there, just because, and it was the Holland piece because it was Detroit. Again, if you landed in a better spot, feel good about it. But just as we said last night, with the funk and the stink of Weaver still just hovering over the organization.
Like I said, the ghost of GM's past.
I do agree. Kyle said something that I agree with. Like, De Silva going to Orlando is maybe the worst spot for him.
Yeah, I didn't get that one at all. Like,
very surprising.
Well, it just fits the profile. It
fits profile,
length.
But they've got.
I'm not saying it was right. I'm answering. That's why they. It just seems like that's why they did it. It fits their profile.
But they have an abundance of it, and they need a skill, like the skill set that he needs. They don't really have. It was surprising.
Playmaking around him.
It's hard for me. Like when you're talking that deep into draft, it's hard for me to say like that was the biggest mistake because the opportunity is just not as high.
Well, then there might have been the mistake from last year where they took Jet Howard and he went early and you didn't see that. He didn't play this past season.
Yeah.
Are they trying to make up for a mistake from last season and last draft and doing that here? So that one was a weird one last year, and the De Silva piece was tough this year. But again, it just seems like fits profile, length, athleticism for what they like. And maybe with that cap space that they do go and get some shot creation to go with Jalen Suggs.
And the other one I really like, I really like Minnesota getting Dillingham. Yes. I think that is a right spot for him. And a lot of these players, especially in this draft, like it's so flawed that I think a lot of these players, even the top picks, have to go to the right spot. And I think Minnesota with Dillingham was the right spot.
So one that I saw get killed by a lot of I wouldn't say the big outlets. The big outlets, when they do grades, it's kind of how, I don't think maybe Derek is. You guys are not huge video game players.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But anymore with reviews for video games, it's not a 1 to 10. It's a 7 to 10 rating scale. Because anything under 7, it's like, oh, you're trolling or like you're trying to get attention, whatever. So draft grades at ESPN, Bleacher Report, The Athletic, a lot of these places are A to C.
Yep.
I saw some of the smaller people who they have more incentive to just like, I'm going to be honest about the AJ Johnson pick at 23. They were like F-. So no, I have not watched AJ play, right? Like I know very little about him from his time in the NBL. I don't think he played much there, which is like, a guy who was a young kid playing in another country who barely played. Like, I don't even know how you properly evaluate him. I think he was a big workout guy. So I think there's high downside potential there. But I'll stay with, if we're talking about my least favorite ones, it's still Zach Edey.
That was surprising.
I still can't believe, like, it just doesn't make sense with now maybe they're trying to say we need to get away from the identity that we had built previously, right? Like we need other options. I just think if you want to take him, that's a trade back type of situation. I don't know how far you trade back, and you do have to find a partner who wants to.
But you need another asset. Right.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird one.
We all silly like the mayor.